Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about how Dungeons and Dragons is a capitalism victory lap. All right, so basically, there's a really interesting conversation happening. I think it's like it's the capitalism 2.0 discussion, socialism 2.0 discussion, capitalism versus socialism discussion. So one of the things that's interesting is Bill Burr is he's a brilliant guy, he's a brilliant comedian, and he came out really hard in favor of socialism recently. And he caught some flack for it because like a lot of conservatives like Bill Burr, and he's built enough of he can say what he wants now. He doesn't have to kowtow to one faction or another, right? And I think also people are starting to realize one of the few guards that comedians have is that they make fun of everybody. You gotta throw it in every direction now, right? But Bill Burr generally has built his brand on being likable to conservatives, but he came out for socialism, right? And so there's this huge debate, and also I'm a huge fan of Breaking Points, which has Crystal and Sagar on it, but they're socialists. They're flat out socialists, right? So there's this huge debate of capitalism versus socialism, right? And Dungeons and Dragons is on the very edge of politics, culture, and religion in the world today. If you don't know that, you're just not paying attention. It's been involved in politics, culture, and religion, in American politics, culture, and religion since day one. It's very much on the front edge, the front lines of political, cultural, and religious discussions today, right? So, there's a million examples of that. I shouldn't even have to point them out to you. It's so obvious. So where does Dungeons and Dragons come down on capitalism and socialism? And here's the issue. Dungeons and Dragons is absolutely the best victory lap, one of the best victory laps that capitalism has ever had, right? So the reality is, what Gary Gygax did was he built this incredibly progressive idea of human improvement, right? Now, people of faith have had this for a long time, but the secular world really didn't have any way to improve themselves, right? And that's what I'm starting to realize is basically Dungeons and Dragons is shaping has momentum of rolling down the hill of human improvement for lost people who do not have faith, right? Because the reality is they're gonna die, and they're not going to a good place. And even by their own admission, their hope is that he turn into dust, right? They're like, "Ooh, I hope you guys aren't right, and there's heaven and there's a hot place. I hope I'm lucky and turn into nothing." Right? And they desperately need to, and lost people need to hope that their best outcome is nothing, right? Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. So I have a lot of sympathy for lost people, and one of the things I think is really attractive to me is I realized Gary Gygax built a plan of hope for people who don't have faith, right? If you're a person of faith, you know where you're going, and you have a structure to improve yourself. If you're lost, you have no structure to improve yourself. What do you got, Nietzsche? Come on, he didn't have a good set of fans there, So, and Gary Gygax is hey, here's a way that you can improve yourself as a human, and you can talk about philosophy, and hey, you see this alignment thing? That's morality. That's for you people of morality who don't have any structure to even talk about morality because you don't have a God, right? And so Gary really set it down and gave this structure that he could allow lost people to improve themselves, right? But here's the thing. If you write a self-help book, ain't nobody care, right? So what Gary did was he built this human improvement engine, in my humble opinion, right? And he set it into the best vessel to be carried forward for centuries to come. And that is a capitalism pod. He put it into a product, right? And he said, hey, you want to play this game and pay me money? Right? And that guaranteed that his progressive ideas and his human improvement engine would be carried forward by nescient companies who thought it was a game and thought it was a product, and would hire creatives who would go right back to the beginning and look at the source material and carry forward Gary Gygax's progressive ideas. Gary was, in 1983, he was like, hey, maybe all people of color should be equal. Maybe all genders should be equal. And he put it into the 1983 cartoon, right? And now, Strixhaven, like Amanda Haven's like, hey, maybe everybody, no matter who they choose to love, should be treated equal. Here's a prom picture with two dudes, right? It's the same. It's the same energy, right? But the reality is, you write a self-help book and you try to get somebody on the couch. Nobody cares, right? Nobody wants that crap except Hollywood. You can't sell that to real people. You can only sell it to broken people who think to people who think they're broken, who have too much money. That's the only people that some self-help book or some psychology thing is useful to, right? But if you make a human improvement engine and you put it and you shoot it forward into the future in a capitalism pod, right, which is a product, a viable product, an exciting product, it's going to get carried for centuries to come. And that's exactly what's happening, right? And socialism has no equal, right? Show me an intellectual property made from a socialist country that even remotely, right, equals Dungeons and Dragons. What's the best socialism tabletop role-playing game? I'm really excited to see your list. There ain't nothing on it. Dungeons and Dragons is a massive, incredibly successful, beautiful victory lap for capitalism. And socialism sucks. And everything built there sucks. And it will never equal what Gary was able to do with capitalism. And we've recently seen this too, so there's this issue of, hey, universal health care. Should we have universal health care or should we have capitalist health care, right? That discussion's over now, right? The Great Pandemic happened and the capitalist system, America, built three vaccines, all of which are massively sought after. The whole world's begging for it, trying to get it. What did the socialists do again? I don't even think anybody knows the date, if they built one, right? Nobody's looking for it, right? And so this idea of capitalism versus socialism, it's a great conversation. Capitalism wins. D&D is a victory lap for capitalism. You're up, Coach Socialism. What you got? I don't see much. Oh, that's my humble opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.